Shrimati Supriya Suleji.
On behalf of the Nationalist Congress Party, I to speak on today's bill of the Advocates Amendment Bill. Sir, Meghwalji has been a colleague to all of us and a pleasurable colleague for a long time. And he was the colleague who brought in the Women's Reservation Bill. And he's really lucky that he has brought in a bill, though it's not implemented. But he's lucky that in his legacy that he will leave behind, he'll be one of the finest ministers who has brought something which was very close to our hearts. And I'm not taking away his intent of this bill which he has brought in. I have only a few suggestions. I'm not a lawyer. Most lawyers have spoken before me. But the intent of the government, I'm sure, is very clear about what they want to do. But I have a few suggestions and questions to ask them regarding the implementation of this bill, which is actually really small. But there are a few questions I'd like to ask the Honourable out of my lack of legal knowledge. Is this that he says, what is a tout? Now, Mehtabji has spoken about it, and so has Sri Raja from the DMK. But I seek a clarification from the Honourable Minister that he says that, which already Mehtabji has read, that who procures in consideration of any remuneration. So it's a one-sided thing. See, in the Corruption Act, both parties are considered to be making a mistake. Here, you are only considering one party to it. So should we not make it broader? And whoever engages or whoever hires, both ways, I think the practice is wrong, right? So why should only half the person be punished? So if you are really trying to remove touting completely, why not include both the parties, is my question. So if he could kindly clarify on that. The other question for me is that who are the members present at every meeting? There is no clarity of it. In 45A, they've written that the explanation is the majority of members present at the meeting. Now, who will be the members? Who will decide what will happen at the meeting? Who will decide just with such a small thing? Who is a tout? And who will be taking the decision? There is no clarity about this. Now, this is like Rajaji said, I'm reiterating the point, but there are no objects in the bill. It's probably little, I mean, it's a lawyer's bill which has such poor drafting, unfortunately, because there is, bill has to have its objectives. So there is no objectives in this bill. So what is the real reason of getting this bill? I'm again not taking away from the intention of the government. I'm sure the intention is, but when you are doing something for lawyers, isn't drafting and implementation most important than not just intent? Life is beyond intent. The other thing is about reforms which Meghwalji said. Sir, I have never dealt with lawyers in my whole life, but in the last 6 months, I'm flooded with lawyers in my life, be it Election Commission or Supreme Court. And there is a saying in Marathi, sir, if with your permission, I would like to say it, that in Marathi they say, जो होशियार होता है ना, वो कभी कोर्ट की सीढ़ी नहीं चढ़ता है. जो होशियार है, तो कभी कोर्टाची पैड़ी चढ़त नहीं. अभी मैं होशियार नहीं हूँ, अभी मानना पड़ेगा, मैं तो चढ़ चुकी अभी. There was no option. So I had no option but to climb it. And clearly when you go to court, there are a lot of issues that are raised. The tout issue is discussed. But my whole point is there are a lot of reforms required in the court. I mean, justice delayed is justice denied. I don't want to go there. I know that's not the purview of the bill. But even one major point is injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, is what Martin Luther King has said. So I think this is a very broader role that we need. We really need to expand this bill. The course of this bill, which whenever we meet young lawyers anywhere we get, you go to states, like somebody from YSR Congress, Jagan Mohan Reddy ji's party said that they are giving 5,000 rupees a month to young lawyers. In Kerala, they give, I think, 2,000. So is there something to engage all these youngsters who are studying very hard to pass it? So is there some social program this government has in mind, like most states are doing? That is my first question to this government. To reiterate, which technology upgrade? I think with technology, so many things are happening now. So is the entire game for lawyers going to change in the next few years? So how do they skill themselves to better? I mean, this whole thing about colonialization has been discussed. So it's a past, it's okay, good or bad. I think it's not been that bad on it. So let's not just criticize our history. The way forward is change, and change is inevitable in everybody's lives. And that's what policy is also. Policies also have to change with time. Look at the life today, something like artificial intelligence, something we didn't even expect A mobile phone we didn't expect about 10 years ago in our lives, which has actually changed our lives. So every profession is changing. So are the lawyers. So is there something this government has in mind for technology upgrade of all the lawyers? The Protection Act, which Mehtabji talked about, I'd like to take it a little forward, that many governments all over the country, not just talking about advocates, but they are even talking about doctors and press safety and security, because somehow I do realize, and we must all put our minds together in this government and in parliament, that there is somehow so much anger in society nowadays. I don't know where this anger is coming from, sir. Even in Maharashtra, we are having a lot of challenge. I'm not trying to digress, but I'm just giving you a small example. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. There are a lot of agitations going on in Maharashtra today on reservations, sir, be it Maratha, Dangar, Lingayat, Muslim Arakshans. A lot of stone pelting is suddenly happening. So there is clearly some anger breeding somewhere. You hear doctors getting beaten up. You hear threats like Mehtabji said about lawyers. There are press people who are getting beaten up. So there is something missing somewhere, sir. I think this entire House Parliament with legislation, we even need to discuss all these social issues, because the intent of changing people's lives for the better is why. That's why we get elected and come here. So at policy level, the intent of the government to bring in to removing of the touts is a very welcome step. Sir, the only thing when I was hearing about touting was, आपको भी याद होगा हम लोग सब थे, तभी तो मल्टीप्लेक्सेस थे नहीं, तो वो टाउट्स खड़े रह के वो टिकट सिनेमा की बिकते थे, 10 रुपया का 100 रुपये में टिकट, अभी वो iPad वगैरह नहीं था. That whole touting business is over, because first day, first show, life out of us is over. So technology does evolve life, so it will probably eventually do remove touts. But till then, can we do something better, which is simpler, positive, and like Megwal ji said, Raja ji said, I would like to reiterate their points that why not bring a compressive bill, bring it, we could put it into the law ministry. The law minister is very fine, he's very supportive to all the demands of women that he did for us in the women's reservation bill. So I'd request him to take this back. Let's all take all the points suggested by all the renowned lawyers in this house, bring a more comprehensive bill, take all the feedback, maybe send it to a standing committee. There are good lawyers, even in the, I think the environmental minister is also a lawyer, if I stand corrected. Maybe some feedback from him also as a lawyer, and have a more comprehensive bill in the larger interest of the advocates of this country. Thank you, sir.